Alright, so here's today's venture. I'm building some vegetable beds. I've got, this is basically like how far off the ground, and this is where I'm starting up the siding, and that goes all the way up to right here, and then I'm routing out 0.5, so this is 1.5 inches for the Douglas fir. That's going to be the top edge lip, and then I've got 5.5 inches on top of that to make this 32 inches. That's where I'm going to chop this 4x4 into, and then I'm going to cut a groove channel into this, basically halfway and halfway on the other side, and then I'm going to cut out the piece so that my shiplap, which is the siding that I've decided on, is going to land inside of here, and that's where I'm going to nail it. And that's what's going to create the sides of my my vegetable beds. This is what I went with. I'll be sealing it. Right now they're just stacked for measuring purposes. But right now the idea is that this top edge I'm going to route out of this guy here so that it lands inside of this guy. And I just go tack, 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 tack. We're good. And I got a whole bunch of other little things that'll make this a little more nifty, a little bit more cool than the ones that I've seen. A lot of them I've seen just kind of seem slapped together, and I wanted to make this cool and cost effective. So as of right now, material cost is up to I believe like $200. So that, and I'm just using paint I had, so I'm kind of not counting that, but I will in a cost evaluation later on. But basically, this is the plan. I'll catch up when I've cut these into each of them into their posts, the side posts, and then I'll be using the skill saw to cut out the wedge pieces just enough to make my pieces just land straight in there, have a place to land, nail in, and then I'm going to seal it all with a plastic interior and this little nifty idea I had with my dad about PVC pipe in the bottom so that it drains well and still works the way it's supposed to work. And yeah, we'll see if it all figures itself out or not, and I'll catch you up when it's a little further along. Alright, so skill saw for hitting this line, basically you get as close to your edge there as you got popped in a little bit there, and then I use the vibrating blade and the sawzall, not this long one, but this guy. You know, basically I cut until I was like about here, right? And then the little vibrating blade, I just flattened and pushed, flattened and pushed, flattened, pushed, and that gets me my piece. And as you can see, not too shabby for making my cuts even. And I got this extra piece that I can use as a bracer or whatever I need in time of need. But I gotta do this to all of those, which will be fun. Just basically shiplap lands here, create the long edge, and then the short edge shiplap lands here. I just gotta put together. I'm thinking I'll glue 2 at a time together. These are just mock-ups for measuring purposes. 2 at a time, glue those together, and paint and seal them, and then attach them to these, which I'll fully prime all edges. So I think today I'm just gonna cut all these into their exactly like this, and then we'll paint and prime interior, exterior. All of this gets paint and prime, and then these glue together 2 at a time, and then paint them with the clear coat sealant, UV protectant, exterior oil-based clear coat stain, which is expansive, but it'll make this look beautiful. So it's measuring tape here. Let's see if this is the top or the bottom. So first 5.5, so that's 5.5 off the top. So this is the top, and 5 off the ground. Of course, I can reverse that if I feel that is better. But as of right now, that's the plan, you know, but at the end of the day, until I put the shiplap on here, top and bottom, I can decide later. But so overall, this is 32 inches because it's 8 feet lumber that I cut into thirds. So 32 inches is each of the side posts, and this is 1 3/4 in. So you know you set the depth of your blade, you run true and straight. I put this board next to it just to have a nice flat place for my saw to land on, and you know, clamp this in place. Be careful, and we'll see how far I get today. Okay, so just to look up our pointers. When you're dropping in with a saw, obviously you want to drop in somewhere right in here, right? So that when you're dropping in the end point, you're kind of pushing it forward and you're watching this line, and then you're dropping it in. Once it's dropped in solid, you're pushing evenly, push, 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 and then you stop as soon as it starts touching there, right? And then with the two different guys I showed you, this guy I like because it's wider than the blade on this, right? So I take this and I hit it at the, like, you know, kind of 45 whatever, and I cut it back as far as I can until I touch that line there, and I touch that line down there. I always do cross thatch because it's always good to know what you're cutting and what line you're supposed to be within, and that's where I want, well, that line is exactly where I want the blade to land next to, on the interior of, and then everything will work out perfectly. And yeah, that was just a little quick. If you don't know what you're doing, don't fuck with the saw. I always clamp my stuff down and make sure I've got something to land the base on that's even and flat, and that's what this is for. And yeah, all right. I've done a number of them. This is it all, but I've got a number more. All right, moving on.